inside the corporate office. Employees settle into their workstations as another busy day begins. Computer screens glow across the office while phones ring occasionally in the distance. Soft conversations drift between desks as sunlight pours through the large glass windows. Emma thought today would be normal. She planned to answer emails, review her notes, and continue learning how the office worked. Nothing unusual, nothing stressful, nothing complicated. Unfortunately, Mr. Carter had other plans.
Emma, do you have a minute?
Emma looks up from her desk. Mr. Carter is standing nearby holding his tablet. His expression is calm, professional, focused. The kind of expression that usually means one thing: work.
Of course. What's up?
I need your help with something.
The words sound simple, yet Emma immediately sits up straighter, because there is a difference between helping and being responsible. Until now, most of her days have been spent observing, listening, learning. Today sounds different. Today sounds real.
I have a task that needs to be completed before lunch, and I'd like you to handle it. It isn't difficult, but there are several details you'll need to keep track of. A few people are involved, and timing matters.
For a moment, Emma isn't sure whether to feel excited or nervous. A task from the boss. Her first real assignment. Not training, not practice, not watching someone else do the work. Actual responsibility. The kind that belongs to her. Emma nods confidently. At least, she hopes it looks confident. Because phrases like several details and timing matters have a way of becoming much more complicated than they sound.
Sure, I can do that.
The answer leaves her mouth surprisingly fast. Almost too fast. Because the truth is, she has no idea what the task is yet.
Good. I think you're ready. I'll explain everything once.
For a moment, Emma's confidence wavers. Just once? Suddenly, paying attention feels extremely important. Ready. That word somehow makes everything feel more serious. Ready means expectations. Ready means responsibility. Ready means mistakes matter. Emma suddenly wishes she knew which version Mr. Carter meant, the encouraging version or the terrifying version.
Come with me. I'll explain everything.
Emma stands and follows him through the office, trying to look confident, trying to act professional, trying very hard not to imagine everything that could go wrong. Around her, the office continues as normal. Phones ring, meetings begin. Employees move confidently from one task to another. Everyone seems to know exactly what they're doing. Emma hopes she will feel that way soon, because she doesn't know it yet, but before the morning is over, she'll face a choice that every new employee faces sooner or later. Ask a question, or pretend she understands. And the decision she makes will determine what happens next. A few moments later, Mr. Carter stops outside a meeting room. He opens the door, turns toward Emma, and finally begins explaining the assignment. The task sounds simple at first. As Mr. Carter explains the assignment, Emma quickly realizes there's far more information to remember than she expected. The office is fully awake now. Employees move between desks carrying laptops and notebooks. Phones ring occasionally across the workspace, while meeting rooms begin filling with small groups preparing for the morning's discussions. A few moments after leaving her desk, Emma follows Mr. Carter into a small meeting room near the conference area. The room is quiet, simple. Just a table, a few chairs, and a large screen mounted on the wall. Mr. Carter places his tablet on the table and gestures toward a chair.
Have a seat.
Emma sits, trying her best to appear calm, professional, prepared. Inside, she feels slightly less confident than she looks. This is her first real assignment, and she desperately wants to make a good impression.
All right, here's the situation. The project review meeting scheduled for this afternoon has been updated. Several details changed late yesterday, and I need someone to make sure the right people receive the correct information before lunch.
Okay.
There are 3 parts to the task. First, you'll locate the final meeting schedule. Second, you'll make sure Sophia receives the updated room information. Third, you'll send the revised schedule to Rianne and confirm that he received it. After that, report back to me.
Emma nods confidently. 3 steps. That doesn't sound too difficult.
The schedule is saved in the project review folder. Use the final version, not the draft version. The final version was updated yesterday at 4:45 p.m.
Got it.
Sophia is preparing materials for the meeting. She needs the new room assignment before lunch. Rianne needs the revised schedule because he'll be speaking with the client later this afternoon.
Emma continues listening, trying to remember every detail, trying to look capable, trying not to forget anything.
And one last thing, don't send anything to the client. Rianne needs to review the schedule first. Only internal updates for now.
Understood.
Mr. Carter studies her for a moment, then leans back slightly.
Good. Can you quickly walk me through the steps, just so we're on the same page?
Emma immediately feels a small wave of panic. She wasn't expecting a test. Still, she starts reviewing the instructions in her head.
Find the final schedule. Give Sophia the updated room information. Send the revised schedule to Rianne, then confirm everything with you.
Mr. Carter remains silent for a moment. Emma wonders if she missed something. Then he smiles.
Very good. Just remember to use the final version of the schedule. That's important.
Right, the final version.
Mr. Carter nods, but Emma notices something. He emphasized that detail twice. Maybe because it matters, or maybe because people forget things more often than they realize.
Any questions?
The room becomes quiet. For a moment, Emma considers asking him to repeat everything. Not because she wasn't listening, because she wants to be absolutely certain. But another thought immediately appears. What if the questions sound obvious? What if she should already understand? What if asking makes her seem unprepared?
No, I think I've got it.
Excellent. Take your time. Accuracy is more important than speed. I'll check in with you before lunch. Good luck.
Mr. Carter picks up his tablet and leaves the room. The door closes behind him. Emma takes a deep breath. The task sounds straightforward. Find the schedule. Contact Sophia. Contact Rianne. Report back. Simple. At least, that's what she tells herself. A few minutes later, she returns to her desk and opens the company drive. Almost immediately, 2 folders appear on her screen. Project Review. Project Review Final. Emma stares at the screen. The confidence she felt 5 minutes ago begins to fade. Because suddenly, she isn't completely sure which one Mr. Carter meant. And that isn't the only detail she's starting to question. Back at her desk, Emma realizes she remembers most of the instructions, but not all of them.
Mid-morning inside the office. The workspace is busier now. Employees move between departments carrying documents and laptops. Conversations rise and fall across the room, while keyboards click steadily in the background. Back at her desk, Emma stares at her computer screen. A few minutes ago she felt confident. Now she feels less certain. The assignment itself isn't the problem. The problem is that she suddenly isn't sure she remembers every detail. On her screen, 2 folders sit side by side. Project Review, Final.
Okay, which one did he say?
Emma tries to replay the conversation in her head. Mr. Carter definitely mentioned a final version, didn't he? Or was the final version inside the Project Review folder? Suddenly, something that seemed obvious 5 minutes ago no longer feels obvious at all. Emma opens one folder. Several documents appear. She opens another folder. More documents. Some have similar names. Some have different dates. One is labeled Draft. Another says Updated. A third says Final Review.
That doesn't help.
Emma leans back in her chair. Maybe she should have taken notes. Maybe she should have asked him to repeat the instructions. Maybe she should have paid closer attention. The problem isn't that she wasn't listening. The problem is that she assumed she would remember everything. Determined to figure it out herself, Emma reviews the instructions again. Find the schedule. Contact Sophia. Send information to Rianne. Get confirmation. Report back. Simple. Except the details between those steps are becoming blurry.
Wait, did Sophia need the schedule or just the room update?
Emma freezes. For a moment, she honestly can't remember. She tries again. Rianne needed the revised schedule. That part she's fairly sure about. But then another question appears.
Was I supposed to contact Sophia first or Rianne first?
The more Emma thinks, the more questions appear, and every question leads to another. Across the office, employees seem completely focused on their work. Nobody looks confused. Nobody looks uncertain. Nobody appears to be sitting at their desk wondering whether they misunderstood basic instructions. At least, that's how it looks from Emma's perspective. A notification appears on her screen. The clock catches her attention. Nearly 20 minutes have passed, and she hasn't completed a single step.
Great. Now I'm behind schedule too.
Emma opens the folder again, then closes it, then opens it again, as if staring at the files longer will somehow reveal the correct answer. Unfortunately, the files remain unhelpfully identical. For a moment, she considers making an educated guess. After all, how different can the versions be? Maybe she should just choose one and move forward. That would certainly be faster. But another thought quickly follows. What if it's the wrong version? What if Sophia receives incorrect information? What if Rianne shares outdated details? What if the meeting preparations start heading in the wrong direction because of one small mistake? Suddenly, guessing doesn't seem like such a good idea.
There has to be a better way.
Emma looks around the office. Her eyes land on Rianne. He's reviewing documents at his desk between phone calls. A few days ago, Emma probably wouldn't have approached him. Now she knows exactly who he is, and she knows he has experience. The question is whether she's willing to admit she needs help. Emma glances back at her screen, then toward Rianne, then back at the screen. A debate begins inside her head.
If I ask, I'll look inexperienced.
A second thought immediately answers.
If I guess, I might be wrong.
The choice seems obvious, yet somehow it doesn't feel easy. Because asking for help requires admitting something many new employees don't like admitting. You don't know. Emma takes a deep breath, pushes back her chair, and stands.
All right, one question, that's all.
With that, Emma walks toward Rianne's desk, hoping the question sounds professional, and hoping she doesn't accidentally reveal how confused she actually feels. Emma approaches Rianne, determined to clarify the instructions. But how do you ask for help without sounding unprepared? The office remains busy as the morning continues. Employees move between desks and meeting rooms. Phones ring occasionally while quiet conversations take place across the workspace. Emma walks toward Rianne's desk. Each step feels surprisingly important, not because the question is difficult, because asking it means admitting something. She doesn't know. A few days ago, Emma wouldn't have known who to ask. Now she does. The challenge isn't finding the right person. The challenge is finding the right words. Rianne is reviewing documents when he notices Emma approaching.
Hey, Emma. How's the morning going?
Honestly, a little less smoothly than I hoped.
That sounds promising. What's wrong?
Emma laughs. The tension eases slightly.
Mr. Carter gave me my first real assignment, and I thought I understood everything. Then I sat down at my desk. Now I'm not completely sure.
Welcome to the club.
The club?
The I Understood It 5 Minutes Ago club. Membership is surprisingly high.
Emma can't help smiling. For the first time all morning, she doesn't feel like the only person who has ever experienced this.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Emma hesitates, then remembers something. If she's going to ask for help, she wants to do it professionally.
Actually, let me try that again. I just want to make sure I understood the instructions correctly. Could I clarify something?
Rianne immediately nods.
Perfect. That's exactly how you should ask. What do you need to clarify?
Emma feels a little more confident. The question didn't sound foolish. It sounded professional. There is a difference.
Mr. Carter told me to find the final meeting schedule, but there are multiple versions in the company drive. I wanted to confirm which version I should be using before I send anything.
Good catch. That's definitely worth confirming.
So I'm not overthinking it?
Not at all. The wrong version can create a lot of confusion, especially before a client meeting.
Emma feels a wave of relief. She had worried the question might sound unnecessary. Instead, Rianne seems glad she asked.
Can I ask something else?
Go ahead.
Does asking questions ever make you look inexperienced?
Rianne leans back in his chair, thinking for a moment.
That's a common concern. But let me ask you something. Which is worse? Asking a question for 30 seconds or fixing a mistake for 3 hours?
Emma immediately knows the answer.
Fixing the mistake.
Exactly. Good employees ask questions when something isn't clear. Bad employees make assumptions and hope for the best.
Emma remembers the debate she had at her desk. Ask or guess? Suddenly, the answer feels obvious.
Most managers don't expect new employees to know everything. They expect them to communicate. There's a difference.
I never thought about it that way.
Think about what you just did. You didn't say, "I have no idea what's happening." You said, "I'd like to clarify something." That's professional communication.
For the first time that morning, Emma starts seeing questions differently, not as signs of weakness, as tools.
So if I'm unsure about something, it's better to ask?
It's better to ask before the mistake happens. After the mistake, everyone wishes the question had been asked earlier.
Emma laughs, because that makes perfect sense.
Come on, let's look at the files together. I think I know exactly which schedule Mr. Carter meant.
The two of them walk back toward Emma's desk. The problem that seemed overwhelming 20 minutes ago suddenly feels manageable. Not because Emma has all the answers, because she's no longer trying to solve everything alone. And that might be the most important lesson she's learned all day. With Rianne's help, Emma finds the correct schedule and finally begins the assignment. But a new problem is waiting for her. The pace has picked up. Employees move between departments carrying folders and laptops. Meeting rooms are occupied, phones ring more frequently, and conversations blend into the steady rhythm of a busy workday. Back at her desk, Emma feels much better than she did 30 minutes ago. The uncertainty is gone. The confusion has faded. And thanks to Rianne's help, she finally knows which schedule she's supposed to use. Sometimes the hardest part of a task is simply getting started.
All right, let's do this.
Emma opens the correct file, reviews the updated schedule, and begins working through the assignment step by step. This time, she isn't relying on memory. She's checking details carefully, making notes, and taking her time, exactly as Mr. Carter advised. First, she reviews the updated meeting information. Then she confirms the revised room assignment. Everything appears straightforward. No surprises, no confusion, no disasters. For once, the morning seems to be going according to plan.
That's a nice change.
A few minutes later, Emma heads toward Sophia's workspace. Sophia is reviewing project materials when Emma approaches.
Hi, Sophia. Do you have a minute?
Sure. What's up?
Mr. Carter asked me to make sure you received the updated room information for this afternoon's project review meeting. The meeting has been moved to Conference Room B.
Good thing you told me. My notes still say Conference Room A.
Sophia immediately updates her documents.
Thanks for catching that.
Actually, Mr. Carter caught it. I'm just delivering the message.
Still counts. Communication is part of the job.
Emma smiles. That feels surprisingly good to hear. 1 step completed, 2 remaining. Back at her desk, Emma prepares the information for Rianne. She opens the schedule, reviews it one final time, then begins drafting a message. Everything looks correct. The meeting time matches. The room assignment matches. The document title looks right. Emma is just about to send it when something catches her attention.
Wait.
A second file is open behind the schedule. At first glance, the documents look identical, but one small detail stands out. The revision dates are different.
That's strange.
Emma compares the files, line by line, page by page. Most of the information matches. Then she notices it. One document lists the meeting start time as 2 p.m. The other lists it as 2:30 p.m.
You've got to be kidding.
Emma immediately sits up straighter. Half an hour. One small difference. But in a workplace, small differences can become very big problems. If she sends the wrong version, people could arrive at different times. Preparation could be affected. Schedules could become confused. And most importantly, the information would be wrong.
Okay, don't panic.
Emma takes a deep breath. A few hours earlier, she might have guessed, or assumed, or hoped for the best. Now, she knows better. Instead of sending the file immediately, she stops, reviews the documents again, and starts looking for evidence. Which version is correct? Which version is outdated? And why are both still available? The answer isn't obvious, but one thing is, sending information before confirming it would be a mistake.
Looks like I have another question.
Emma glances toward Sophia's desk, then toward Rianne. The task isn't difficult anymore, but it isn't finished either. Because finding information is only part of the job. Knowing whether the information is correct is equally important. Emma discovers 2 different meeting times. Before sending anything, she must figure out which version is actually correct, and Sophia may have the answer. Late morning. The office is approaching its busiest point of the day. Employees move quickly between desks and meeting rooms. Phones ring more frequently, and conversations become more focused as deadlines draw closer. Emma stares at the 2 schedules on her screen. At first glance, they look almost identical. Same title, same meeting room, same attendees. Yet one detail refuses to cooperate. One version says 2 p.m. The other says 2:30 p.m. And somewhere, one of them is wrong. Emma checks the clock. Time is moving. The easiest option would be to pick a version and move forward. But after her conversation with Rianne, that no longer feels like a good idea.
No guessing. Not this time.
Emma stands and heads toward Sophia's desk. If anyone knows which information is current, it's probably the person preparing the meeting materials.
Everything going all right?
Mostly. I just want to confirm something before I send the schedule.
Sophia immediately looks up from her work.
Good start. What do you need?
I found 2 versions of the meeting schedule. One says the meeting starts at 2. The other says 2:30. I wanted to verify which one is correct before sending anything.
Sophia smiles. Not because the situation is funny, because Emma asked before creating a problem.
I'm glad you checked. Let's take a look.
A few moments later, both of them are reviewing the files on Emma's screen. Sophia compares the dates, then the revision history, then one small note near the bottom of the document. Suddenly, she points at the screen.
There it is.
What?
This version was updated after yesterday's planning meeting. The start time changed to 2:30. The 2 o'clock version is outdated.
Emma stares at the screen, then at the email draft she almost sent. A chill runs through her. Just a few minutes ago, she had been seconds away from clicking send. If she had, Sophia might have prepared materials using the wrong schedule. Rianne could have spoken with the client using outdated information. People might have arrived at different times, and nobody would have realized the mistake started with a single email.
Wow. That was close.
Closer than you think. That's why we verify before we send, not after.
Emma slowly nods. For the first time all morning, she truly understands what everyone has been trying to tell her. Mistakes rarely begin with one big decision. They usually begin with one small assumption.
I almost missed that.
Most people do. That's why professionals don't rely on assumptions. They rely on confirmation.
Emma feels relieved, not because the problem was solved, because she caught it before it became someone else's problem.
Can I show you something?
Sure.
Whenever you're about to send important information, pause for 30 seconds. Just 30. Then ask yourself 4 questions.
4 questions?
First, is this the correct person? Second, is this the correct document? Third, is this the latest version? Fourth, would I be comfortable explaining this information to my manager?
Emma considers the list. Simple, practical, easy to remember.
And if the answer is no?
Then don't send it yet. Check again. Or ask someone.
Emma nods. The advice sounds obvious, yet she can already see how useful it is. A few extra seconds now could prevent hours of confusion later.
You know, most workplace mistakes don't happen because people are careless. They happen because people are in a hurry.
That makes sense.
Everyone wants to be fast. Professionals learn when to slow down.
Emma smiles. That might be the most valuable thing she's heard all morning.
Thanks for helping.
No problem. And for what it's worth, asking before sending was exactly the right decision.
As Emma returns to her desk, she notices something. A few hours ago, she was worried that asking questions would make her look inexperienced. Now, 2 experienced coworkers have told her exactly the opposite. Ask first. Avoid mistakes later. Back at her desk, Emma opens the correct schedule. This time, before sending anything, she pauses. 30 seconds. Just as Sophia suggested.
Correct person, correct document, latest version, and yes, I'd be comfortable explaining it to Mr. Carter.
For the first time all morning, Emma feels completely confident. She clicks Send. The message is on its way, but the assignment isn't finished yet, because one final conversation is waiting for her. The schedule has been sent. Now Emma must report back to Mr. Carter, and discover whether she handled her first assignment the way a professional would. Late morning. The office is busy but organized. Employees move confidently between meetings and workstations. Conversations are shorter now. Most people are focused on completing tasks before lunch. Emma leans back in her chair. The updated schedule has been sent. Sophia received the room information. Rianne confirmed he received the revised schedule. For the first time since Mr. Carter assigned the task, everything appears complete.
I think that's everything.
Emma reviews her notes one final time. Not because she expects to find a mistake, because she's learned something important. Checking isn't a sign of uncertainty, it's part of doing the job well. A notification appears on her screen. It's a message from Rianne.
Received. Thanks for confirming the updated version.
A few seconds later, another message arrives. This one is from Sophia.
Room information updated. We're all set.
Emma smiles. The confirmations feel small, yet somehow they feel important, because they mean people have the information they need, and because they mean her first assignment is actually helping someone. Just then, a familiar voice appears behind her.
How's it going?
Emma turns around. Mr. Carter stands beside her desk, exactly as promised, checking in before lunch.
I think everything is finished.
You think?
Emma immediately catches herself.
Sorry. Everything is finished. Sophia received the updated room information, Rianne received the revised schedule, and both confirmed they received it. Mr. Carter nods, clearly pleased with the answer.
Good. How did it go?
Emma considers the question. There are several ways she could answer. The easy answer would be, fine, but that wouldn't be completely honest.
Honestly, it was harder than I expected.
Why?
Because I thought I understood all the instructions. Then I sat down at my desk and realized I wasn't completely sure.
Mr. Carter doesn't look surprised. If anything, he looks amused.
And what did you do?
I asked questions.
A smile immediately appears on Mr. Carter's face.
Good.
Actually, Rianne helped me confirm which schedule I should use, and Sophia helped me verify the latest version. There were 2 different meeting times in the files.
I was wondering if you'd noticed that.
You knew?
Of course. That's why I told you accuracy was more important than speed.
Emma laughs. Part of her feels relieved. Another part feels slightly suspicious.
Was this whole assignment a test?
Every first assignment is a test, not of intelligence, of habits.
Emma thinks about that. Habits. Not knowledge, not experience. Habits.
Anyone can send a file. The question is whether they check it first. Anyone can stay silent. The question is whether they speak up when something isn't clear.
The words remind Emma of her conversation with Rianne. Ask, don't assume. Verify, don't guess. The same lesson keeps appearing from different directions.
I almost guessed.
Most people do.
And honestly, I almost didn't ask for help.
Most people do that too.
For a moment, both of them look across the office. Employees collaborate. Questions are asked, information is shared, problems are solved, rarely by one person alone.
The strongest employees aren't the ones who never ask questions. They're the ones who know when a question needs to be asked.
Emma nods. The lesson feels much clearer now than it did this morning.
So, how do you feel?
A lot better than I did an hour ago.
Good. Because your first assignment is officially complete.
Emma smiles. A simple sentence, Yet it feels like an important milestone. Not because the task was difficult, because she handled it professionally. The assignment may be finished, but Mr. Carter has one final lesson for Emma, and it has nothing to do with schedules or meeting rooms. Late morning. The office is beginning to settle into its midday rhythm. Phones ring less frequently now. Employees focus on finishing tasks before lunch. Sunlight pours through the large office windows, creating a calmer atmosphere than earlier in the day. The assignment is complete. The schedule has been delivered. The information has been confirmed. And for the first time all morning, Emma feels like she can finally relax. But Mr. Carter isn't quite finished yet.
Do you know what impressed me most today?
Finding the correct schedule?
No.
Catching the wrong meeting time?
No.
Emma looks surprised. The entire morning had felt like a series of small victories. Surely one of them was the answer.
What impressed me happened long before that.
Before that?
You stopped.
Emma blinks. That wasn't the answer she expected.
You noticed something didn't feel right. You realized you weren't completely sure, and instead of pretending you understood, you chose to ask.
Emma thinks back to that moment, sitting at her desk, looking at the folders on her screen, wondering whether she should ask for help. At the time, it felt like a small decision. Now she realizes it wasn't.
Most workplace problems don't start with mistakes. They start with assumptions.
Assumptions?
Someone assumes they understood the instructions. Someone assumes they're using the latest document. Someone assumes they don't need to double-check. And eventually, those assumptions become problems.
Emma nods slowly, because she can now see exactly how close she came.
Honestly, I almost sent the wrong schedule.
I know.
You knew?
I suspected there was a good chance you'd find two versions. That's why I kept saying, accuracy matters more than speed.
Emma laughs, partly because she's relieved, partly because she realizes how carefully the assignment was designed.
The schedule wasn't the real test.
It wasn't?
No. Finding a file is easy. Sending an email is easy. What I wanted to see was how you handled uncertainty.
The words immediately catch Emma's attention.
When you weren't sure, would you guess? Would you stay silent? Or would you communicate? That's what matters.
For a moment, Emma looks across the office. People are talking, asking questions, sharing information, solving problems together.
Look around. Nobody here succeeds alone. Projects succeed because people communicate. Questions are asked. Details are verified. Information is shared.
Emma watches employees working together. Suddenly, the office feels different. Not because it changed, because her understanding of it changed.
The strongest employees aren't the ones who know everything. They're the ones who keep learning.
I guess I still have a lot to learn.
Good.
Good?
The day you think you have nothing left to learn is the day you stop growing.
Emma smiles. That lesson feels bigger than today's assignment, bigger than schedules, bigger than meeting rooms, maybe even bigger than this job.
Remember this, Emma.
What?
The most dangerous employee isn't the one who asks questions. It's the one who stops asking them.
The words stay with her. Simple, clear, impossible to forget.
Successful people aren't successful because they always have the answers. They're successful because they're willing to look for them.
Emma smiles. For the first time since joining the company, she doesn't feel pressure to know everything. She feels permission to keep learning.
Now go enjoy lunch. You've earned it.
Mr. Carter walks away. Emma watches the office around her. This morning, she arrived feeling like a new employee, someone trying not to make mistakes, someone trying to prove herself. Now, she feels different. Not because she knows everything, because she knows what to do when she doesn't. As she stands and prepares to leave for lunch, she notices something she hadn't noticed before. Questions. Everywhere. Managers asking employees asking managers, teams asking each other. The entire office runs on communication, not perfection. Emma smiles. This morning she thought successful employees had all the answers. Now she understands something different. The best employees aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who catch mistakes before they spread. They ask, they verify, they learn, and they keep learning. And for the first time, Emma feels like she truly belongs there. Lunch hour inside the office. The busy morning has finally slowed down. Employees chat quietly while enjoying their break. Sunlight streams through the cafeteria windows. The atmosphere feels lighter now. A few hours ago, Emma was sitting at her desk, wondering whether she should ask a simple question. At the time, it felt like a very big decision. Now, it feels like the beginning of something much bigger. As she walks toward the lunch area, she passes coworkers talking about projects, sharing ideas, solving problems, asking questions. The same thing she was afraid to do this morning.
You know, when I started today, I thought confidence meant having all the answers.
Emma smiles.
Now, I think confidence means being willing to ask when you don't.
The thought makes her laugh softly, not because it's funny, because it suddenly seems so obvious. Tomorrow will bring new tasks, new challenges, and probably new mistakes. But Emma isn't worried about that anymore, because today she learned something valuable. No one expects her to know everything. They expect her to keep learning.
And I can do that.
For the first time since joining the company, Emma isn't focused on proving herself. She's focused on improving herself. And somehow, that feels much better. As she joins her coworkers for lunch, the uncertainty she felt this morning is gone. Not because she found all the answers, because she learned how to find them.
I'd like to clarify something.
The sentence that felt difficult this morning now feels completely natural. And that's how growth often begins, one question at a time. See you in the next lesson.